Great. Well, I've got Zach here. Zach is the founder and CEO of Anchor Rides, and in this short interview, we're just going to be talking about SEO, some of his SEO results, and SEO strategies, and kind of what it takes to be good at SEO. So we'll kind of jump in. Zach, if you wanted to start, can you tell us a little bit about Anchor Rides? Your history as a business owner and all that. It's kind of an interesting company. So
Yeah, sure. Anchor started after my best friend was killed in a tragic boating accident. The idea was to keep boat renters safe with a captain on board at all time. I actually started a business before this one that just hired sober captains for the boat and then ended up buying a boat and chartering the boat. And then that evolved into my boat breaking down and borrowing my neighbor's boat. And then that evolved into, well, we should just do this boat sharing type um, model. And we have gone from just a small little operation during the summer at Lake of the Ozarks to a now global 10,000 plus boat fleet, hundreds of destinations, serving both day and term charters worldwide, essentially. So yeah, basically you can jump on anchorrides.com, search and find a boat with or without a captain, and book for a single day or half a day, or actually book a yacht charter vacation. And you're searching the lowest prices, the most accurate prices. Pretty cool website we've built, and we've just built so many other tools in the back end to help keep people safe on the water, and make sure that they're doing compliant, legitimate charters and not just booking from some broker off of Facebook or out of at the marina in certain cases, and they're actually going through like a real safe portal and environment.
awesome. Yeah, you've mentioned it's a little bit like Airbnb, kind of like Airbnb for
Yeah.
boats. Is
Yeah, it's like Airbnb for boats. That's a really popular way to put it. It's very close to that. With us, there's an added element of the operator, the captain, and crew. But yeah, you are able to connect on Anchor with direct with private owners and large scale fleet operators, which is no different than Airbnb. Sometimes you're connecting with a host who owns the home, and other times you're connecting with their property manager or somebody else who manages a lot of properties. So same thing with Anchor. But yeah, absolutely the Airbnb of the sea, if you will.
nice, nice. So I kind of, I met you at rugby, rugby practice, funny enough. And when I met
Yep.
you, you were already doing some SEO, and I think I just popped a message in the chat and asked, you were doing SEO actually. I know that for a matter of fact. And I popped a message in the chat, and I just kind of asked, hey, is anyone looking for any help with SEO potentially? Um, yeah, I just wanted to hear a little bit more about one, what was your experience with SEO up to that point? Because you guys had already kind of been putting work, and then kind of what led up to you actually, wanting to respond to that message and maybe get some more help.
Yeah. So our experience, admittedly, in my personal experience, was very limited with SEO. It was not a strategy we took very seriously right up front, right? So a strategy we took really seriously right up front was pay per click because the results are instantaneous. And um, we're in a very transactional industry. It started dawning on me when I took a look. I don't know what tool I used, but I looked at my competitors' traffic on their website and I asked my marketing team, like, how is that? How is there such a differentiation? How is Anchor getting this much traffic, and my competitors getting 10x and even bigger than 10x the traffic I am? And they said, well, yeah, you spend a lot on PPC, but they're getting a lot of organic traffic. So that was really the extent. That's what like prompted it and started it. Just kind of taking a look at how much traffic my competitors getting. And then started taking it a little bit more seriously as we started getting some little results, right? And that traffic started to increase in certain cities. So take Tampa, for example, a city that we are very big in, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, and we started getting some ranking in the yacht rental, one keyword, and wow, our business started increasing in that market. So there was a direct correlation between that. So that was our experience prior to really investing in SEO at scale. And as you know now, it's a much higher priority for us. Uh, PPC still, is a big part of our strategy. It has to be, and it will be. But SEO definitely rivals it when it comes to on the hierarchy or priority list.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when I joined you. Yeah, you guys had already had some pretty surprisingly good rankings in Tampa, and you guys were creeping up in a few different locations. I remember, yeah, you guys had position one in Tampa, which is one of those big markets.
For the yacht rental keyword, which is 1/8 of the size of the boat rental keyword, right? So that's what we looked at. We said, look, they're ignoring this keyword. Okay. And that's what we're good at. We were good at the higher end. We don't do really, we didn't do like too much boat rental per se. And so we were really the yacht category. And during COVID, yachting, getting on a yacht became more popular, like super popular. And
Mhm.
even today, it's in rap songs and all kinds of stuff. It's a cool, fun thing to do. So we looked at where our competitors weren't. And now we're taking fight to them on the higher and harder, higher volume, harder to compete keywords like boat rental. And that's what we've been working on lately. And we're having a lot of success doing that too. So yeah, it's really exciting. Um, and yeah, I'll tell you, it is transformative for a business when you don't do any marketing and then you start marketing and then you start marketing and then you take marketing really seriously. So yeah, very, very exciting where we have come over the last year and excited even more at where we're going to go in the next year. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And something like that too, having a ranking like Tampa, I imagine. I mean, that's just that's been constant, just constant bookings coming without having to spend $1 on ads or anything like that.
It's
So
like it's like a stock that pays a dividend.
yeah.
And that's kind of how I looked at it. It is like, yeah, we're there and we invested and we got there. And sure, we have to put a little bit of effort into it here and there, but it holds long term and it yields results month after month after month after month after month. And it's just compounding effect of the money we had to invest in it. And that is again, I think you can look at PPC as like a direct ROAS. Like I'm putting X amount of dollars in. How much am I getting in return from it? You can even do that in the same month. And there's your measurement. Is my PPC effective? Maybe over 2 months, depending on what your sales cycle is. But for me, SEO is a lot harder to give a tangible number to when you're looking at, well, I've put X amount of dollars in every month and now I'm churning out this much 6 months down the road or a year down the road. Some of these journeys are longer than others. But what's really important, and to me, a huge metric is the lifetime value of customers, right? So and when you calculate the lifetime value of a customer, you have to know the first time that customers book, how much money you make, right? Do you make anything? Some people lose money on the first transaction. What's your rebooking rate? How often are they rebooking? And then what's their lifetime value in your company? So do they come in once and transact one time? Okay, if that's the case, you better be making a good return on your first transaction. But if they keep coming back, then you have to calculate a much higher return on that customer, right? On each customer too. So knowing the lifetime value of a customer is a lot like knowing there's some metaphor in there that I'm not putting my finger directly on, but there is some similarity to the lifetime value of your SEO. It's like, sure, I plugged in, let's just say 5 grand, 5 grand, 5 grand, 5 grand every month. And I'm just throwing out a number. But is it coming back? Well, at first it might not. But in the future, it's going to come back in dividends, right? It's going to come back compounding, compounding, compounding. And it's really exciting to scale your business up that way. And a business like ours we make some money on the first transaction, yes, but we make our money long term as people repeat book and not just book with us in one city, but multiple cities. And so it's exciting to see that rebooking rate go up. It's exciting to see the customer lifetime value numbers go up. It's exciting to see each market in and of itself when we uh, zero in on each market, growth within those markets, knowing good and well that the boating market is down this year. Our industry is down. We're up. So that's a huge thing for us. And I think that's a testament to the investment we've put in marketing, advertising, as well as other categories of the business too. It's not like we're just focused on marketing. That's it. So, but a big part of it is we're getting the traffic that we weren't getting before.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that is kind of one interesting thing about SEO. It's like, let's say you're paying $1,000, for your SEO every month, right? That first month, even if let's say your traffic increases 5% every month. And let's say in that first month, that 5% traffic increase means you're getting an additional $1,000 in revenue, you're barely breaking even, in that first month. But then when you scale that up, if you keep on getting an additional $1,000 of revenue every month for, let's say, 36 months, right? Then you're making $36,000 more per month and you're still paying that $1,000 per month. So you're totally right. It's kind of one of those things where it might not make any sense for like the first 3 months, 6 months, but as long as you can see the improvement, then eventually,
Compounding interest.
yeah.
You say like put $200 aside if you start when you're 20 years old and you put $200 aside. I'm just throwing, I don't know the exact number because I didn't save as a young person. I was too
I should have too.
I said, let's start this business and throw my life savings into it. But if you start when you're 20 and you put $200 in a savings, compounding interest savings account, and when you're 50 or 60, you're going to have $3 million. But if you don't start until you're 25, you're only going to have $2 million. And if you don't start until you're 30, you're only going to have $1 million. And it's just like, whoa, the difference of in the investment, the capital investment you made is small. It's like, well, it's only $200, $2,400 a year. That's 24,000. So I only invested 75,000 less starting 10 years later. But the compounding interest effect didn't take place. And therefore, you're now $2 million shy of your $3 million goal. So I think of it as like compounding interest. And to be, we said this on a meeting the other day. Said if I could restart my business on year zero, which I never call year one, year zero, I would start investing in SEO right away, consistently in cities I didn't even have any inventory in. I would start that early. Why? Because the second we hit rank, we start getting other results. We don't just get renters, we get boat owners, we get people to join our program, we get captains, we get all of these things, and it grows the business in other immeasurable ways. So I said that the other day. I mean it. I would start spinning up landing pages. I always thought that was a crazy theory. And now that I've lived it, I know it to be true. So yeah, the earlier you can start, I think, the better. Even if you have a small local business, get number one on Google My Business. If you're thinking about starting a second location, I don't know, cheat your way into a second location on Google My Business and start spinning it up. I'm literally talking like life hacks that way. So yeah, it's
I
funny how
completely agree. Like imagine being a plumber and before you even open your plumbing business, you have a GMB ranked on number one, and then you're getting 150 phone calls looking for a plumber. Then all of a sudden, you don't have to start with small rates and hire people quickly. You can literally be like, okay, what's the best pricing structure? The leads are coming in for free, So
yeah,
it's a really
I'm not. I know we're on a call where we're here to discussing your business, but I'm dead serious. That would be my strategy if I had to hit reset. Start SEO immediately, spinning up landing pages, even if it had fake inventory, any of that. I'd hack my way to the top right away, get the traffic. That's how I'd spend my money, and that there's nobody who would change my mind about it.
That's how I would too. And even now, I feel like we're starting to really hit some momentum with results. But just based on what we laid the groundwork for, I mean, I honestly think next in 1 year will be like we'll be probably 5x, right? It's not like it doubles. And I can't imagine too if we had started this. I mean, you guys were already doing stuff, but if we had imagined the same level of aggression that we've had in the last year, if we had that for even 2 years, like before even expanding to
Yeah,
locations, it'd be crazy.
yeah. I've been chasing two giants for a long time. Um, and these companies are no joke, right? Big budgets, big money, smart people. And we've been chasing these giants, and we think, we're a little bit smaller, but we do things in a unique way, and we're excited about the way we do things, and we think we give a unique perspective to the boat rental marketplace. And I'll tell you, if we had started earlier, I am fairly confident we would have already surpassed our competitors, which were, at least this next closest one was 4 times our size. That was the last time I saw some numbers. They were 4 times our size. I don't think they're 4 times our size now. I think we've gained a little ground, but had we got out ahead of it early, your anchor would be possibly number one or a number two. And you're talking the difference in millions of dollars at the bottom line, the difference between a cash flow positive business and a company that burns cash. And it really is, like I said, it's completely transformative to a business like ours, especially, which operates in multiple cities, in multiple continents, for multiple keywords. But I don't think there's any difference between a small business. Heck, you bumped into another rugby guy the other day, and he's starting a juice store, right?
Yep.
And I was like, Google my business right away. I was like, the first thing I told him, I was like, you got to get on it. He's like, you got to get on it. And I was like, well, they do some SEO for us in house. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, Google my business right now, and then get on all the Uber Eats platforms that you possibly can. Market prices. I was like, that would be my model if I was doing what you're doing. And he's like, all right, yeah, let's take it easy. It's his first time owning a business. I was like, no, don't take it easy.
Heck, I sent him a 20-minute video just like auditing everything. Like, you need to do this, this, and this,
Yeah.
all SEOs. So I love that you did that.
Russ is a cool dude, and
I
I'm
had the
sure
same
his
reaction.
store is going to be the jam.
He was like, I want to find a PR person. I was like, PR, you need to rank first when someone Googles acai bowls in
Yeah.
your area. Like, what are you gonna do with PR, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that was funny. That's funny you say that. That was one of the first things we thought of doing was like, get this PR out, let people know your story. But PR is expensive and it's not as effective. Like I said, I'm like, there's an active market of people looking for this service. I'm not reinventing something. So like we didn't reinvent the wheel. People charter boats all the time. People rent boats all the time. They're out there searching for it. I don't have to educate them. They're smart enough to know how to type in rent a boat in Tampa and find it. And then they're going to be looking at the map and they're going to be looking at the rankings and that's it. Like that's where the majority, it's crazy, but that's where the majority of searches happen. If I'm looking for an acai bowl near me, I'm going to look at the map and see what's there. And there may be 3 choices that populate in the Google map, section, and I'm going to look at each one. And maybe the closest one gets my business, or maybe the one that looks really delicious gets mine and has good prices. So yeah, that's funny. But I just talked to Russ on Saturday, and it's like, this is what you got to do. Like I got in his face super quick.
that's
You know me.
awesome.
And I don't hold back.
That's awesome. Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, that's very interesting, and I couldn't agree more. Okay, well, I've got a couple other things. Okay, so we've gone over kind of value and stuff. I guess a couple of questions that I would interest me is one is kind of results. We've gotten some pretty cool results. How would you kind of quantify the results that we've gotten in terms of numbers, growth, or just kind of overall, even just specific instances? Like looking at the SEO, what we've done, what's kind of the most valuable result wise for the business, you know?
Yeah, so kind of going by some milestones here. Anchor is in a really nice position being this. I'll go back to and refer to the 3 giants in our space, Anchor being the smallest of those 3, and we have some luxuries there. We are not yet at scale, so we can grow a new city really quick and say, hey, now we are going to offer boat and yacht rental and charters in Seattle, okay, or San Francisco, a market that's completely untapped. Well, yeah, that's great. There's some challenges there. Our playbook is we have to go out and we have to build some inventory there. We have to get some boat owners to sign up for our service. And then we have to rank and we have to get people. So PPC is going to be an immediate result. Well, guess what? In a new city where you have less inventory and you're newer, PPC is going to be really expensive, right? So it brings down not only the metrics of that city, but your overall metrics, and it gets a little expensive. So we start early. That's been introduced to our playbook recently. It's like, how quickly can we get a page spun up for this How quickly can we get that page indexed and by Google and all the other crawlers? And then how quickly can we get some kind of quality rank? And that typically that first milestone is first page. We've been getting first page really quickly. Because we weren't, and this is where I'll kind of tip my hat to you. It's it's not just it's not just backlinking and then you're done. Like we have to spin up a really quality page. You guys have found a way to spin up pages in seconds. It involved my IT team helping build a tool within our system, but we can spin up a page for a new market literally in minutes now, using a combination. So like you've helped us tap into Chat GPT, these super cool automation tools that punch out HTML code really quickly, and then boom, we've got a page spun up as fast as we can find images and identify the market. Like it's that quick, it's insane. So if I said Seattle, I could probably challenge you and say, hey, you have 15 minutes to have a page spun up. And I'm pretty sure you could hit that goal. It wouldn't be the best page in the world, but it would be a page. So like we're hitting our first milestone so much faster, which helps. Then then there's the investment in time and the fight. Okay, now we've got this thing spun up. We're on page 5, in minutes, in literally as fast as Google will index your page. We're on page 5 because it's a quality page. It's got good content. Zero authority yet, but it'll get there. Then we've been seeing a shortened time to getting to page 1. And so that means less is going. So super happy about that. Then it's okay. Now we're on page 1. We're in rank 6 or 5 or 8, whatever that is. And now it's the fight. That's the real dog fight. It's like, let's get to the top 3. And that's kind of what we judge it on. Are we in the top 3? Are we in the money spots, right? So we've got, I can't even throw a percent on the number of top 3 on the let's call first page results. You're in 1,000% growth there because we've spun up so many pages in so many locations over the last year. So thousands of percents improvement year over year. And then top 3, we're in the hundreds of like we've added at least 10 10 core pages, and not to mention other like smaller keywords that are party boat in Miami, like a little bit more specific, less volume in the traffic in the keyword. But so it's just insane. We're number 1 for yacht rental in Miami. A challenge. I actually challenged you. I owe you a free yacht charter. So feel free to take me up on that. So look, I put my money on the line. I put my money where my mouth is. I challenged Jan to get to the first page in Miami yacht rental keyword, which is super competitive, super high volume. And we got it. And we got it in pretty short time. So results based.
Well, now
Take a look for yourself and yeah.
Not only on the first page, but we've been sitting in position 1 now for 6 months.
For 6 months. And we haven't been investing a lot of money directly towards that. So it's got staying power, right? It's not like we're continuing to hammer it. We're actually happy with it sitting there and we're going, okay, what else can we work on while that sits at number 1? And then if it drops a little bit, we might feed it again. But it's so super happy. So like now that I'm confident, hey, we went out and won all these yacht rental keywords. That's the space our competitors weren't focused on because it was slightly smaller. They all hammered boat rental. Now we're hammering boat rental and we're climbing super fast. Chicago boat rental in 5 rank. After doing very little, we've had that page for definitely less than a year. Definitely less than a year, maybe less than 6 months. And we're in spot 5. And now we're going to be tackling and hammering that. And it's just, I couldn't be happier with what's happening in SEO. And then on top of that, so like results are really important to me. Obviously, that's number 1. Like if you said, Zach, I'm not having weekly meetings with you. I'm not talking to you. I don't want to report to you. I'm just going to get you results and you do that. Okay, well, I probably pay my bill every month and, sit on the sidelines. But that's not what this is. I feel one of the most important things, aside from results, is the fact that every week we have a meeting. It's not super long. It's set for an hour. We might meet for 30 minutes. We might meet for an hour and 15 minutes sometimes. But every week you come with, this is what I've done. This is what I'm about to do. This is how we're doing it. And it is so clearly mapped out that I don't think I ever have to worry from the Thursday I meet you to the Thursday I meet with you again. I don't have to worry about what you've been doing, what you are doing. Are you getting the job done? I'm not asking you when you're doing it. I don't call you up at 10 o'clock at night and say, hey, Jan, are you on this? I just know that I'm going to get the report. Sometimes things don't get done. Some things you're saying, hey, by next week, I want to have this done. Hey, Zach, it was a little bit more challenging than I thought. It's taken me a little bit more time than I thought. I'll have it done by next week. It's done by next week. That kind of stuff happens in business, but it's so transparent for me. I don't have to lose sleep over what's happening in my SEO. I don't. So I think that's a huge part. I know I'm a little off the topic of results,
Oh,
but I
but
think that's so important. Sure, results are number one. That's what everybody's going to want to see, but be patient with your SEO results first. It's not going to happen overnight. Um, if you don't give it at least 6 months, then I think you're doing yourself a disservice. And depending on what your keywords are, it may take longer, but give it 6 months to see a real result. Yeah, climbing from page 20 to page 10 is going to bring you no value, but hey, you climbed 10 pages, something's happening. But give it 6 months, give it sometimes a year, depending on how competitive it is, but really watch that compounding effect take place, depending on what your monthly budget is, depending on how much you're willing to put into it, depending on how big your business is, how many cities you're in, if you're local, whatever. But yeah, I think that's the one thing that I love as a business owner. I can't, I have to worry about every department. In some departments, I have to worry about more than others. This is an area I don't have to worry about because my meetings with you are crisp, concise, um, organized, well thought out, documented. And I'm just like, I know exactly what's happening over there. I give a marketing report on your behalf during our all hands meeting because I know what the heck's going on. So it's awesome. So super happy about the results. No doubt about that. Our traffic has our traffic has definitely grown month over month. Every month, I get the little report and we're catching up. I watch my competitors' keywords too and how well their traffic's going. I love seeing an up arrow on ours and a down arrow on theirs. Love seeing that. And so that's the results I'm looking at. I'm like, oh, look at us climbing while they're dropping. And that lets us catch up faster. So yeah, again, super happy. Really tough keywords. And now we're going after even tougher keywords, and I'm confident we're going to win them. So yeah.
me too. And I love that you shared that. That is one of those things that that I have been trying to do. So it's cool, that it works. It's that, I know you've got 1.5 million things to worry about. And I know a lot of times being kind of the most motivated and driven person in your business, you always kind of end up just like thinking like, why did I have to come up with this idea? Or why did I have to plan the next steps? Or why did I have to bring this up? And you're always feeling like you have to step up to the plate and be the factor that kind of drives people forward. So that's kind of one of my goals. It has been one of my goals to just like, how can I step up to the plate and already think of the next, highest priority, best steps and present them to Zach. So Zach always knows like, wait, that's a great idea. Yeah, we should do that, And so you don't have to be sitting there, during the day and being like, man, like what can we do to improve, to improve our SEO strategy or something like that. So that's
Could have
cool.
said it better. That is a huge concern, especially for startups, right? Our we got to grow fast or we die fast. Simple as that. My business model does not work in a single city. It doesn't work. There's no way. I would have to charge, I would have to take a 75% commission off of a boat owner. They wouldn't make enough. The business model just wouldn't work. You have to be in several cities. You have to be in several. So you're thinking about a lot. And when I can just say this is taken care of over here, I can actually fall asleep or I lose sleep over something else. Right. So that's pretty much.
For sure. For
Uh,
sure.
but
Awesome.
yeah, I couldn't be happier with the organization that you bring to the table and the ideas that are sometimes something we can't commit to, right? Sometimes you're thinking bigger than we are or faster than we are, or something that requires work from our IT team, our product team, our software developers. It's like they're busy building this other thing right now, and they can't give you that. But what can we do instead? You know, and it's been great. There's accountability. There's all kinds of intangible measurements here that keep me with you, right?
Awesome. Thank you. Now, I have kind of a couple more little questions just to
Sure.
wrap this up, but kind of going on the theme of Miami and just overall SEO results. So I know it's sometimes a little bit hard to track SEO revenue, but I know we have some pretty good data, right? And it might be more, maybe it's a little less, maybe a little more. We don't know necessarily, but two things. So one, we've you mentioned like we're sitting number one yacht rental in Miami. These are kind of two different questions, but we're sitting number one in yacht rental Miami. First question is going to be like, what do you think it is? Like, you're now a successful business owner that has a lot of experience with SEO and your business is very good at SEO. What is the secret strategy? What does it take to be able to go into a market like Miami for yacht rental, which is the most competitive, one of the most competitive markets for yacht rental is Miami. And what does it take? Like, why is it that we're able to literally park in position one for 6 months straight with very little investment now after the last 6 months? Meanwhile, we have competitors like giant competitors. We all know who they are, and people that have just been there for like 10 years. They were all on the first page, and not only like sliding up past the people on the first page, but knocking them all down and parking one. What are the strategy tips? Like, what's the secret to that?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. So, it's funny, we have a lower domain authority score than our competitors. And that's as far as I understand it. So I'm not a marketer. I've learned quite a bit sitting on the sidelines, right, watching the game. But I've watched a lot of football games, and I'm not a football coach, right? Um, so what I think is happening is one, we prioritize the things that you guys, we looked at some of these measurements, and you're like, hey man, the website's slow to load. And there's not a ton of content in the right places. So we were open. We're like, okay, what is it going to take to get you there? And we kind of went out and went outside of our industry, and we looked at what other like marketplaces like Airbnb are doing. And we took a look, and they're like, okay, so they have this, we have a map page, right? So if you're searching on our site and you go to our search bar and you type in Tampa, boom, map page. Well, the map's got to load, all the images of the boats have to load, all of the prices, which are in real time, have to load. And so we were getting like this slow load issue. And then not to mention, there's not a lot of places to stick content, SEO content there. And so our strategy was we're going to spin up these pages that come before the map. And those are what we're going to optimize towards. So we created and this was a recommendation that you came up with, and I came up with. I said, what if we did this, and how do we do this? And you're like, this is what I would need. And you helped facilitate the requirements for this build. And then our product team went out and built this feature. And so basically now we can go in and like, what's the page we want to be? What's the keyword we want to win? And let's say we want to win boat rental Chicago or yacht rental Miami. Okay, boom, we're going to build a yacht rental Miami page. It's going to be populated with a few pieces of static information on there that are quick to load, not thousands, hundreds of images of boats, which are high resolution too, by the way. So we made every upload of images faster. We made these preliminary, if you will, landing pages that you hit before with a search bar functionality on them, which is pretty cool through a web component. And so we built like this secondary landing page. I was always so against landing pages and splash pages that are generic and all that. I'm like, no, I want to go straight to the map page, and I want to get them straight into search, and I want to get them straight onto, the purchase. Is like, that's not the best. And then we tested that, and it's actually converting better. Adding a page converts better than just sending them straight to the map page where they're like, here's the boats in your face. It's wild to me, but it worked. It was wild to me. It's not wild to me anymore. Now it's just the truth. So yeah, that was part of the thing. And so yes, we had to invest some time in our software developers to build this landing page builder. Yes, we had to make sure that they were fast loading and building, content rich. And yes, it took a little bit of time, but that was, I think, a key factor. And again, it took some convincing from you to me. It took some convincing me for sure that was a good strategy. We invested in it. It paid off. It's paying off now. That's our strategy worldwide. Every city. You want to have yacht charters in Croatia? We're going to spin up that page first, make it content rich. We might not even have good inventory there. We might not have good availability there. We might not have much, but we're going to spin up those pages, and they're going to be fast, and Google's going to like them, and they're going to like what's on them, and it's going to prioritize it over these other pages, which are probably built on, Wix or some other GoDaddy type site, and slower load speeds. They don't pay attention to all the fine mechanics that go into it and what makes a good SEO score. It's not just backlinks. It's not just the content that's on the page or the keywords that are on the page. It's not just the load time. It's all of those things combined plus more. And that's what we looked at. So we really took a very close look at all of these categories that are measured and made sure we gave you the tool you needed to do that. And it's a pretty cool. I honestly, it's like a software within a software that I feel like we could probably just package that up and ship it out to people who need it. Like it's that cool. Like here's a page spinner upper, you know,
It's
and
awesome.
we built it for you and for the team. And that now it's the center of our strategy and working great.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a really cool kind of addition. And we were able to even get some wins even before we had that addition. And that's just kind of taking everything on steroids. But kind of, I'd say what we've been doing is a bit of like more specific, better, and then more, right? So we're more specific. We know exactly what keywords we want to rank for. We create pages that are perfectly targeted for that keyword, right? And then better is we create the optimal page for those keywords that we go after. And that's kind of what you were talking about from images, from what we put on the images, right? From
Yeah.
the text, from every piece of content, the URL, everything about that page is perfectly designed, to fit the exact keywords that we want to go after. And we're being more specific than everyone else. And then we've also just been psychotic with our backlinks. So I think,
Yeah. That
yeah,
was
it's been that.
a moment, a point of contention for us for a moment is like, what's the perfect image? And like we spent, I think, an entire weekly meeting just talking about the image that goes here at the header, like, and all of those images. And so, yeah, that was a point of contention for a meeting, and we agreed and went on. And yeah, if you go to our pages and you type in like party boat rentals in Miami, you're gonna probably land on a page that shows a party boat in Miami. Pretty cool. Very
Yeah.
fun.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I guess the last question would just be kind of revenue. So I know revenue numbers are a little bit jumpy, but revenue wise, where would you put kind of growth, the growth that we've seen revenue wise, the value of this revenue, and kind of what your yeah, uh, what your
So our let's just say, let's go off this, right? So our customer acquisition cost, which is a measurement of the amount of money we spend on PPC, has gone down significantly. We're down. Our goal was $200 per acquisition per customer. We're at 165. Okay, so it's down significantly. So it's like down 25%, which is massive for us. More than 25%. I think it's like close to 30%. So we're down significantly in our cost of acquisition. So our overall cost of acquisition has gone down because our SEO has improved, meaning SEO is getting more of the lion's share. It's getting a higher percentage of the leads. So people are searching organically, not clicking an ad, going kind of finding us organically or by name or whatever. Our revenue is up 30%. So not only is our customer acquisition cost down, our revenue's up. Huge metrics for a company like us, huge inefficiency. Like I can't tell you how important it is to drive that number down and drive CAC down, drive revenue up. Massive. So our metric, and this is in a year. Again, let me just remind everybody, we're in a year where boating is down right now. The boating industry is in a down year, actually a down 2 years. So down and down. And it's really rough for some companies out there. They are all shrinking. Anchor is growing. Again, we're uniquely positioned to where we can spin up new cities, but we're not just seeing the new cities carrying all the weight of the growth. We're seeing the existing cities, the cities that we've had for 5 years, 6 years, growing. And we did a look at Miami and Fort Lauderdale, up 80% year over year. We've had these for years. They're up 80% year over year.
is that
So when
80% revenue?
Up 80%. Yeah, GMV and revenue move together because we have a constant take rate. It's not fluctuating. So up 80%. That's 80% GMV, which is top line. And then revenue for us is what we take, right? So that's our gross profit number, basically. Um, yeah, and they're both up in the 80 and 100% type growth. And we're getting traction in highly competitive cities where there's a lot of long-term relationships existing there in the boating world, and we're getting that business. So very, very, very exciting, tough nuts to crack. And we've got a nutcracker.
Nice. Yeah. Well, okay. So that all, yeah. Thank you for all that. Yeah, I guess so only the last couple questions is just one, if uh well, one of my questions is going to be, okay, so we're kind of on track, right? Okay, so we're ranking at the top for Miami, right? We hit Miami. We got to position one in Fort Lauderdale. We've gotten to position one in Cabo, West Palm Beach. So it's some of the biggest markets in Florida and some in the U.S. Now we've entered, San Diego, Los Angeles, Newport Beach, and we've gotten to the first page, and this is all kind of within the last year. And we're projecting that we're going to be in position one, if not first three, in a lot of these markets, kind of by next summer. What is just from like a business perspective, if we could snap our fingers, and get to the top of like some of these big markets, like how much of a game changer is that for the business? So let's say if we get to number one in boat rental, Chicago and stuff. I just want to kind of paint the picture of like the difference between not being in a market at all versus getting number one. And
I'll give you some numbers. We're a high seven-figure business right now. Okay. The difference is not from seven figures to eight figures.
Mhm.
It's from eight figures to nine figures. That's the difference. So the keywords we're playing in, the type of volume that happens in these markets, and the type of overall volume. So, and it can't all just be SEO. Other things have to grow with that, but not as much as you think. So from just a pure, let's just take, if Anchor never added another boat to their inventory ever, and we just utilize the inventory we have now, just the staff to an extent. So our operating expenditures stay fairly flat, relatively, and that is the beauty of a tech company, right? Operating expenditures stay flat. The technology does the majority of the work. We need to add some customer service staff and some light things here and there. But you're talking about the difference between a seven-figure business that burns cash right now, month over month, year over year, and a nine-figure, 100 million to 999,999,000, like just probably sub $1 billion business. And it could be higher than that, right? And I'm not going to go so crazy to say we could be a $1 billion company doing it. We could, certainly could. There is that kind of volume in the business and in the industry. But I will tell you, it opens up opportunity that is 1,000 times what we are now. That's where we're sitting, and we're sitting in such a cool, unique opportunity where we're getting good at some things. We're good at all the things. I mean, it's insane. So I feel like we've only started to tap the opportunity, and I feel like the growth, like, so we're looking at inventory growth and year-over-year growth in the investment we put in this, and it's like next year we'll probably grow 55%. Or like, and that's not like doing a lot. It's not like we're having to hustle and go find 10 new cities to grow that. It's like, no, if we just use what we have now, we could grow literally 30 to 50%. And that's a conservative metric. We could say confidently. So yeah, it's very exciting. It's in that gets us the profitability. So we're, as a tech company, Uber loses money every year still, somehow. Airbnb loses money, lost money for a long time. These companies might be profitable now that they're on the stock exchange and all that stuff. But during their startup phase, they didn't just lose a couple $100,000 a year. They lost billions of dollars every year because they were growth at all costs mentality. Now that they're, now, and we're going to hit escape velocity right when we cross from seven figures to eight figures. So
Wow.
once we hit that $10 million mark, we're making good money at our business with a sizable staff, building cool software all the time, improving this thing, making it more efficient. And then we can go from, I think the jump from 10 to 20 is easier than it is from 5 to 10 or 7 to 10. The jump from 10 to 20 for us is easier. So that's what I'll say.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying
I know
maybe
that sounds outlandish, but it's not. It's literally realistic, and that's why I'm building a global marketplace.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you're saying from singles of millions, potentially hundreds of millions. And I mean, I could see that. Obviously, this isn't the same for every market, right? Like some businesses don't have the amount of SEO potential that we have, But yeah, with this kind of SEO, I mean, it's like imagine you rank number one for boat rental and yacht rental. You start ranking number one for boat rental in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Chicago. You're number one in
Yeah.
Los Angeles, San Diego. I mean, that's literally
More
adding
than double. More than double. If we
it
did
just
that, more
doubles.
than double our business right now, more than double for sure. And
And
you're
it's
talking
not
about money hand over fist. Like that's what happens with tech companies like us. We lose money until we make a lot of money. So that's huge for us. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
tell you, you my dad owns a printing business, right? And I'm like, are your printers going, he does this kind of stuff. He does shirts like this and hats like this. And I said, Dad, are your printers running 24/7? I said, no. I said, okay, then you haven't reached capacity yet. You don't have three shifts going on with your printers. You have one. I was like, you have a lot of capacity to grow more and do more. And I go, life is a whole lot easier when your printers are running 24/7. And so, yeah, he's not somebody who has always been super confident in investing in SEO. And I'm like, look, you've been in business for 20 years plus 25 years. Like, you could have been doing this all along and you would be, Custom Ink, which is a $1 billion plus business, you know? So that's kind of, yeah, that's the difference. It's the difference between taking your small business that, probably puts some money in your pocket and puts food on the table to, um, you never have to work again.
Yeah, I
That's the
agree.
difference.
And one of the cool things about SEO too is we talk about that crazy growth. And this isn't some like million things have to happen shot in the dark. Like we have to get ROAS on our ads that's uncomparable to anyone else. It's like we literally create these pages. They're already, crawling up to page one. We've done it in 20 markets, already. And it's like it's so attained, like it's so much growth. It's such a nice arbitrage of not having like expensive cost per clicks and worrying about margins. And it's like it's right there, So that's one of the crazy things. If you're in the right
Yeah.
market with SEO, it's like a little cheat code. And not a lot of people are nearly as good at SEO as they are at PPC. I don't know why. I think because it's so vague. But you have a million company like competing in PPC is so hard. Everybody's, in these industries is doing such a good job.
And
We
mom
could
and pops do it too. So you're not just competing against professionals, you're competing against the uneducated mom and pop who don't know how to do the science behind PPC. And they're just willing to spend,
they'll
they'll go,
outbid you.
I seen single boat owners spend $3,000 a month on SEO on PPC. And I'm like, why? What's your return? Like, why are you doing that? What could possibly be your return? There's not enough volume for you to make that sense of that. Well, I don't have to pay a 15% commission to a broker. I'm like, yeah, but that's a tangible amount based on results. You're just paying $3,000 and not really measuring. I'm like, what's your customer acquisition cost? And they go, what's that? I'm like, oh, so you're competing against these people who have no clue what they're doing because Google's made it so quick, easy, and so is Facebook to go, well, just boost my ad. Boost here, use our algorithm, which means I'm going to overspend and drive the overall auction cost up for everybody else who's trying to drive that cost down. So yeah, you're not just competing against the pros, you're competing against the very unprofessional who just dump cash thinking it differently. SEO is different, right? SEO is I own this spot, it's my real estate, get off my turf type of a thing. So yeah, it's nice. And from a seasonality perspective as well, which we experience in the boating industry, as you can imagine, it helps you not spend money in PPC during those seasonal lows. So we see trends of when charters actually go out versus a different trend when charters actually book. So for example, September through December are kind of slow times when people actually book, but SEO can keep you in play year round without overspending during those in those specific markets during that time. It's like, why am I advertising for Lake of the Ozarks in Chicago in November of the previous, like maybe one or two people are booking their summer, and yeah, I could get a couple of bookings out of it that are early, and sure, there's some value in that, but the juice ain't worth the squeeze. We need to be there in the February and March when people are going gangbusters and finding what they're going to do that summer, and that's when the value's there. So yeah, it's funny. It just keeps you in the fight 24/7. It's kind of, your little, your little clone that's out there just fighting a war for you that you're kind of at home sleeping in bed. It's nice.
Absolutely. Well, Zach, thank you so much for your time so far. I think these insights are really cool. Anchor is definitely a very cool company. I think it has a lot of potential, and you got a lot of good, team members. And I'd say for being kind of still a smaller, a smaller company, definitely punching above. We're punching above our weight class, and a lot of these wins are very exciting. So I commend you on that. My very last question is I offer free SEO plans, so free full SEO roadmaps and audits to people that might just be interested in SEO. So if you're talking to some other startups, or let's say small to medium sized kind of businesses that are thinking about SEO, do you think that's something worth potentially exploring, getting a roadmap? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Um, look, it's not I would just say the days of the white pages, the days of billboard ads, the days of that. It is like, I don't invest in any print, nothing. I don't even think I have business cards right now, to be honest with you, which is a mistake. I should have business cards, but I don't think I even have any either. Maybe somewhere around here. But it is all digital. It is all, if you, unless you have reinvented something or invented some new category, but if you're in a more traditional business, like, yes, I'm a lawyer. People look for lawyer services. Yes, I print clothes. People look for clothes printing. They are looking for printers. They're out there searching it. Yeah, word of mouth is fantastic. SEO is so important. I would 100% get that audit. You might not even know what your ceiling is, and SEO will help. That audit may help you get a better idea of, oh wow, so I could be getting that. I could be making that kind of money in a monthly versus what the kind of money I'm making now. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, at least
To know
understand your keywords, right?
It'd be one of the first things I did after incorporating. I'd be figuring out a way to spin up landing pages, and then I'd be finding a company, probably could just come back to you because I know you and trust you and get good results with you. But yeah, why would you not take that free audit? Why would you not learn from it? Why would you not go explore? And it's pretty cool to look at, like, I would highly recommend looking at your competitor, your biggest competitor, and the one next to you. Not like, chase the big guy. Forget about the dude next to you. You're going to be doing more work than them. You're going to be outworking them, outpacing them. That if you don't have that mentality, then you just aren't, cut out for business. Look at the big guys. What are they doing right? What are they, and they probably have a big marketing team that's smart and knows what they're doing. And that's why they're where they are. So that's what I would look at. That's my recommendation. Don't ignore a free audit because it sounds like a hook to get you in. It probably is, but there's value in it. There's information in it. You're going to learn a lot about how the world actually works right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Zach. I really appreciate it.
Sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit this part out, man. But thank you, man. That was so awesome. You're very obviously, being a CEO and stuff like that, you know how to talk and you have good business insights and stuff. So I think that adds a whole other value, because when someone's just out there like, oh yeah, this is the best thing ever, it's bullshit. But to see someone that actually knows what they're talking about, takes their business seriously, and is able to look at stuff critically, and then share a positive perspective, I just think it holds so much more weight, man. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet.